Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you're watching or listening. My name is Caleb Glick. I'm a lawyer here in the great state of Texas with the Calhoun School of Law to bring you a lot of information that plenty of bad folks would rather you not have. Today's lecture, ladies and gentlemen, will provide another installment into our series on The Prince, written by Mr. Niccolo Machiavelli. Now we're going on to chapter 9, so if you haven't gone back and watched chapters 1 through 8, I would highly encourage you to do so, because while The Prince didn't directly influence the thinking of the founding generation, the tactics and strategies that are outlined in The Prince have often been used by tyrants and authoritarians to subjugate the citizens, and oftentimes just knowing about the tactics and strategies is enough to deter the tyrants from their ambitious subjugation plans, strategies, beliefs, whatnot. So let's go ahead and jump on over to The Prince. Like I said, we're going on to chapter 9, which is titled Monarchy with Public Support. Mr. Niccolo Machiavelli says this. Now let's turn to our second case, where a private citizen becomes king in his own country, not by crime or unacceptable violence, but with the support of his fellow citizens. We can call this a monarchy with public support, and to become its king, you don't have to be wholly brilliant or extraordinarily lucky, just shrewd in a lucky way. Obviously, to take control of this kind of state, you need the support of either the common people or the wealthy family, the nobles. In every city, one finds these two conflicting political positions. There are the common people who are eager not to be ordered around and oppressed by the noble families, and there are the nobles who are eager to oppress the common people and order them around. These opposing impulses will lead to one of three different situations: a monarchy, a republic, or anarchy. A monarchy can be brought about either by the common people or the nobles when one or the other party finds it convenient. Seeing that they can't control the people, the wealthy families begin to concentrate prestige on one of their number and make him king so as to be able to get what they want in his shadow. Likewise, the people, seeing that they can't resist the power of the nobles, concentrate prestige on one citizen and make him king so that his authority will protect them. A king who comes to power with the help of the rich nobles will have more trouble keeping it than the king who gets there with the support of the people, because he will be surrounded by men who consider themselves his equals, and that will make it hard for him to give them orders or to manage affairs as he wants. But a man coming to power with the support of the common people holds it alone and has no one or hardly anyone around him who's unwilling to obey. What's more, you can't in good faith give the nobles what they want without doing harm to others, but you can with the people, because the people's aspirations are more honorable than those of the nobles. The nobles want to oppress the people, while the people want to be free from oppression. What's more, a king can never be safe if the common people are hostile to him, because there are so many of them. But he can protect himself against the nobles, since there are not so many. The worst a king can expect if the people turn hostile is that they will desert him. But when the nobles turn against him, he has to fear not only desertion, but a direct attack. The nobles are smarter, they see further ahead, they always move early enough to save their skins, ingratiating themselves with whoever they think will turn out the winner. Then, of necessity, a king will always have to live with the same common people, but he can perfectly well get by without the same nobles, since he can make and unmake noblemen every day, giving and taking away honors as he likes. Let's settle this question of nobles. As I see it, they can be divided for the most part into two categories. Either they behave in such a way as to tie themselves entirely to your destiny, or they don't. Those who do tie themselves and aren't greedy should be honored and loved. The ones who don't can be further divided into two groups. Maybe they are anxious men, naturally lacking in character, in which case you better make use of them, especially the ones with good advice to offer, since when things are going well, they'll respect you, and when things are tough, you needn't fear them. But if they're hanging back out of calculation and ambition, that's a sign they're looking more to their own interests than to yours. These are the ones you have to watch out for and guard against as if they were already declared enemies, because inevitably, when things start going wrong, these men will be working to bring you down. A man who becomes king with the support of the people, then, must keep those people on his side. This is easy enough, since all they want is to be free from oppression. But the man who becomes king against the will of the majority, and with the support of the wealthy nobles, must make it an absolute priority to win over the affection of the common people. This will be easy if he takes them under his protection. When people are treated well by someone they thought was hostile, they respond with even greater loyalty. They'll go over to his side at once and be even more devoted than if he had taken power with their support. There are all kinds of ways a king can win the people's affection, but since these depend on particular circumstances, and one can hardly lay down rules, I'll leave them out of our discussion. I'll just conclude then that a ruler must have the people on his side. Otherwise, when things get tough, there will be no way out. Nabis, the Spartan king, was besieged by forces from all Greece, plus a hugely successful Roman army, but he held out and defended his country and his position against a lot of them. All he had to do when danger threatened was take precautions to deal with a few internal enemies, but if he'd had the people against him, this wouldn't have been enough. And if anyone objects to my reasoning here with that trite proverb, the man who builds his house on the people is building on mud. My answer is that this is true if it's a private citizen doing the building and imagining the people will come to his rescue when he's in trouble with the law or his enemies. Men like this usually find themselves being let down, as did the Gracchi brothers in Rome and Giorgio Scali in Florence. But when it's a king building on the people, and when he's a man of spirit who knows how to lead and doesn't panic when things get tough, a man who takes the right precautions and whose personality and style of government keeps everybody in a positive state of mind, then the people will never let him down, and time will show what solid foundations he laid. This kind of ruler is most at risk when passing from publicly supported leadership to absolute rule. At this point, he either commands directly himself or gives orders by proxy through magistrates. If he's ruling by proxy, he'll be weaker and exposed to greater risks, since he now depends entirely on the goodwill of the men appointed as magistrates, and they can very easily strip him of his power, particularly when times are hard, either by attacking him directly or by just not carrying out his orders. Once the trouble has begun, the ruler won't have time to take absolute command himself, because his citizens and subjects will be used to take orders from magistrates, and they aren't going to start obeying him in a moment of crisis. So when he's up against it, he'll always be struggling to find anyone he can trust. A ruler in this position mustn't count on what he sees when things are going well and the citizens need his government. Then everybody comes running, everyone is promising this and that, everyone is ready to die for him, since there is no question of dying. But when things get tough, and it's the government that needs the citizens, then hardly anyone shows. And what's so dangerous about a critical moment like this is that you only get one shot at it. So if he's sensible, the ruler must work out a situation where his citizens will always need both his government and him, however well or badly things are going. Then they will always be loyal. So that is all Mr. Machiavelli had to say in number 9. If you have any questions about what he said in number 9, maybe questions about what was said in the preceding chapters, or maybe there's a different legal topic you'd like me to cover in a future lecture, go ahead and post those down in the comments, because the entire purpose of the Calhoun School of Law is to equip you with the necessary skills and information such as this to combat any sort of lawfare that will be waged against you, your loved ones, or your hard-earned property. So please, if you have any questions at all, go ahead and post them down in the comments. Likewise, I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and if not, while you're down in the comments, go ahead and let me know how I can do better so I can best serve that purpose of helping you. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, and until I see y'all in the next lecture for the next topic, I bid you all farewell.